Welcome back to another video. In this video, we will be discussing how I lost $638 trading this week, give y'all an insight on how I approached the markets, why I decided to take this position, and how I was able to monitor this position throughout the whole entire thing. Before the video starts, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Any and all comments are necessary and are appreciated. Like always, let me stop talking and y'all get into the video. Say good. Alright, so starting off in the Discord, you can see back on the 2nd, we called out the top 5 pairs. Basically our pre-market analysis that we do each and every week in the Discord, allowing them to see what we are attacking for that day. So going to the full screen, you can see NZD, USD, and you can see how we recently just formed this breakout, and I'm looking for price to form some type of retracement. And as we was looking for price to form that retracement, you can obviously see we had updates throughout the week where price did in fact get back above the zone, well, back towards this area of interest, which we will break down here in a minute. And I was looking for price to form this type of structure down below. Same thing around here, we have the 2 rejections, and then I'm just looking for price to have the continuation. Fast forward, you can obviously see how price forms this type of head and shoulders pattern on the 15-minute time frame, allowing us to see that the switch of structure is now stepping into play, going from bullish to bearish. And I'm just looking for price to get back underneath this zone before we enter our position. Again, that same type of movement here we're looking for here. And we fast forward, you can obviously see that movement now play out. Price form the retracement back towards this neckline of this left head and right shoulders, form the rejection, and now is having the continuation back down towards the downside. Price is now forming new lower lows and lower highs, indicating that it wants to go and get back underneath this zone. We found our position, say the least. 15-minute breaker structure, you can see right here, it allowed us to get that position, stops just above, and then targets those 4-hour lower lows. Price ended up hitting our stop loss, blase. That is the first loss, 526, I believe. And then we had a second entry, ended up losing this for around 104, 105. I don't know, I'm gonna pop it up. On the daily time frame, like you all saw, price was in a bullish trend. When price was trending bullish, let's actually refresh this because it's a little close. When price was in this bullish trend, you can see how price had the breakout back down towards the downside due to the break of this higher low. What I like to see is after price forms a break of structure, since I am just a break and retest type of trader, I want to see the retest of that structure before I see the continuation. But in some cases, price might give you that break of structure, but as price gives you that break of structure, it not give a clean enough breaker structure to where you can use that recent structure as resistance. Instead, price will probably form a deeper retracement, find a resistance level at that recent area of interest where it once found resistance before, and then have the continuation back down towards the downside. And in this case, that's what I was looking for. Price formed a beautiful breakout, but as we formed that breakout, it wasn't a strong enough closure to where it was able to use that recent break as structure. Instead, price is forming a deeper retracement, and I found this next zone on the 4-hour time frame, which we're about to break down now. So after seeing the daily have the deeper retracement, I always make sure that we tap back into the recent structure before I drop towards the 4-hour time frame. This is just allowing me to see that price is respecting that recent breaker structure as recent area of interest if we are able to use it as so. But if not, at least I know that price has already had the retest of the recent breaker structure on the daily time frame. And then going towards the 4-hour time frame, I do the same thing. I want to make sure the 4-hour and the daily time frame are in sync, either in a bullish trend or in a bearish trend. In this case, I want them to be in sync in a bearish trend. In order for me to find this zone on the 4-hour time frame, price has to be bearish in sync with the daily time frame before I'm able to do so. If price is not already in sync with the daily time frame, I won't be able to find the zone on the 4-hour time frame. On this 4-hour time frame, again, our objective is to find the trend. So I grab my tool and we start to mark off structure. You can see how price was forming new higher highs and higher lows, and then price had to switch of structure due to the break of this recent higher low. Once price gave me the break of that recent higher low, that's when I grabbed my box tool and I drew out this zone. After I drew out the zone, I wanted to make sure this was a well-respected zone. So before I used this zone and I told myself, hey, I can use it as an entry zone, I wanted to make sure we had 2 or more rejections towards this area of interest, treating it as either resistance or support, but overall allowing me to see that price has a struggle breaking through whenever we reach it. So grabbing my tool, I count out the amount of rejections. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 rejections towards this area of interest. That's more than enough in this case. Only thing we need is 2 or more, and we definitely have more, and that is all we need. So now, after seeing that price is price is respecting this area of interest as both resistance and support, I want to see price now get back up towards this area of interest on the 4-hour time frame, treat it as resistance, and then possibly find that switch of structure, come on the 15-minute time frame, and ride this trade back down towards targets. So as we fast forward, you can obviously see how price did reach this area of interest, where price did get back above my zone. Like we know from previous data, when price is above this area of interest, we treat it as support and we continue towards the upside. So in this case, I wanted to be patient and I wanted to see price get back below my zone. That's when we just sat on our hands and we allowed price to develop. As we fast forward, you can see how price now formed that rejection and now is possibly going to form some type of breakout of this area of interest to get back below that zone. And so as we continue to wait, you can see how price reaches this zone, but it does not have that breakout back underneath. As I drop down towards the 15-minute time frame, you can obviously see how we have the clean break of structure, which we talked about previously on the Discord. You can see how price goes from bullish to now being in this bearish trend. And as price is in this bearish trend, you can see the breakout, the continuation breakout of these recent lower lows. Price has now formed that retracement, but as price formed that retracement, where are we at within structure? Well, structure is still above this area of interest. Like we talked about, when price is above, it uses it as support and it continues towards the upside. So in this case, even though the 15-minute time frame is in sync and we are ready to find some type of entry, we are simply not below my zone. It is important to wait for price to get below your zone. So price wasn't there, so I continue to wait. And if we go back towards the 4-hour time frame, you can see how this allowed us to see that the 4-hour simply was not ready to get back below the zone, but instead it continued back towards the upside. So as we continue to fast forward, you can see how price reaches this area of interest once more, form that double top scenario. And as we form that double top scenario, y'all all know that it is not a confirmed double top until we are able to break out of the neckline that was formed, have the retest and the continuation. So in this case, you can see that now coming into play. I saw a double top that was formed and I seen a neckline that can possibly get broken through to have the retest and the continuation. So after I saw this original push back down towards the downside, I went back towards the 15-minute time frame, and sure enough, you saw the switch from bullish to now back bearish. And as price had that switch, where are we at? We are now treating this area of interest as support, but potentially going to form a clean breakout underneath this zone. So as we fast forward and we allow price to develop, you can see how price now is below this area of interest. Price formed the 15-minute continuation breaker structure, breaking past its recent lower lows. And as price formed that continuation, we formed this new lower high and this new lower low. And now, since we are below this 4-hour zone, I now just want to wait for price to give me another continuation breakout on the 15-minute time frame to where I can then find my entry. So as we fast forward, you can obviously see how price did that. Price had the original breakout back towards the upside, breaking past these recent lower highs, going from bearish to bullish, but it still had this recent higher low, which it showed a clean breaker structure once more. And once price had this clean breaker structure, that's when I found my entry. Stops just above, and like you all know, targets are my recent lower low structure. And so what I was anticipating was, since we had this beautiful double top formation, price formed a neckline and now is forming the breakout going towards a previous trade, CHF JPY. This is the daily time frame. You can see how we have the double top formation, we had the neckline, and prices now had the breakout retest in the continuation. This is a recent trade we did take, which we did win. Hold on, I'm about to bring it up in the Discord. I only do this so I'll show y'all that we're telling the truth and we're not lying about what I'm talking about. So same trade, you can see CHF JPY, and this was on the 20th of February. Again, the 20th, if you can look at the bottom of my cursor, of February. So same trade and the same pattern going towards the 4-hour time frame. You can see it cleaner. You can see the double top, which is formed, the neckline, which is formed. We then had the retest of that structure and the continuation. So the same thing is now happening on NZD USD. We have the double top, neckline, and the breakout. But in this case, I do see price didn't give us a cleaner breakout, but it's still a breakout. And so I was looking for the retest and the continuation towards the downside. So as we fast forward on the 15-minute time frame, you can see how that never happened. But price then went and hit our stop loss. But when price hit our stop loss, you can obviously see that slowed down momentum. This is where my mistake came in. Due to the first loss, I told myself, all right, I'm not really worried about the loss, but I still do see possibilities within this trade continuing towards the downside. I said the same thing in the Discord. You can see that right here, hitting our stop loss, but I still see opportunities. And so what I told myself was, going back towards the 4-hour time frame, since we are still in this bearish trend and price has not broke out of this recent lower high, we are still good to look for sales. I keep looking this way because I think y'all are over there. But we're still good to look for sales as long as price can get back below this area of interest to where, like we know already, when price is above, it treats as support, and when we are below, it treats as resistance. So the only thing I want to make sure is to see price get back below, starting on my lower time frames. But in this case, my entry came above my zone. Yes, price showed me on the 15-minute time frame the bullish to bearish flip, going from bullish and now back bearish due to the breakout of that recent higher low. But we happen to do that above my zone. You can see how my first entry, we were below my zone, which was a great entry. This is the type of entry you want to look for. But the second entry was a little bit of greed stepping into play, which allowed us to get a horrible entry. You can obviously see how price is treating this area as support, and we are simply above this zone. And sure enough, being above this zone, price used it as support and ended up taking us out of this trade. I put an X just indicating that this was a bad trade and it's my fault, but I was able to point that out. So I put an X allowing me to understand, okay, you already know why you took this trade. You already know it was your mistake, and you already know not to do the same thing over. I do recommend y'all do something like that, just something to discipline yourself to see what you're doing wrong and not make those same losing mistakes over and over again. but take the higher probability trade, which is around here. And if you lose, that's fine, because you have previous trades which you did the same thing and it showed you great return. Make sure your risk to reward is on point. That is important. That allows you to take more than just one trade, not risking your whole freaking account. So I have opened up one-on-ones. One-on-one sessions are now open if you want to apply. So the only thing you want to do is go down below, click the link in the description, and it will take you exactly where you need to be. Same thing with the Discord. If you want to get into the Discord, go to the link in the description, click the link, and it's going to take you where you need to be. And before you end this video, I want to leave y'all with a verse. James chapter 1, verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. If you are confused and you don't know which route to take, if you're at a point where you are needing to make a decision and you don't know where to go, pray and ask God for the wisdom. Ask him for the guidance. And if you have a relationship with Christ, is dependent on what answer it is that you will receive. If you do have that relationship with him, you will hear his word and you will understand what he is directing you, because not only will he grant you whatever it is that you pray for, as long as it is in line with his will for your life. If it is not in line with the will he has for your life, and instead is a will that you have for your own, that's when the separation comes, and that's when the relationship begins to break, because you believe that all these things should be going the way you want it to go and the way you direct it. But in reality, that's not how it goes. We need a director and we need someone to guide us. Why not go back to the creator who created us and also who created this world for us? Not only do he grant you these things, but he grants you so much more. I pray that you all continue to grow with your relationship with him. I pray that you seek him in times of need. I pray that you seek him when you are at your best, because not only when you are at your best, he is the one that blessed you to get in that position. And when a time where you believe that quote unquote is your worst, there's a time where it's time for you to continue to go back to him, continue to lean on him, because this is not a time that should hold you back. This is a time where it's time to learn, it's time to grow, and it's time to use this as a platform, as a stepping stool, to be a voice for others who are going through the same thing. And you can be the presentation of what the Lord does for one who chooses to have faith within him. I pray that y'all enjoy this message. I pray that you enjoy the video. And like always, y'all stay blessed. Deuces.